Hi, this is Paula, Gloria, and this is an episode of Farther Down the Rabbit Hole, and we're going to be doing an interview with Colin Bradbury, who is a computer, really a genius, but that's not a label I use lightly, and assisted by his daughter, Anita, we're going to be asking questions about what your dad has done. So I'll back up this way, and you can move in, and maybe, because you've known him through the years. Maybe stand there, Colin, and I'll just go back and forth.
Okay.
You want to just first introduce yourself and some of your qualifications and what led you to this, and then Anita can ask.
Okay. I am Colin Bradbury. There is a string of letters after my name, and I forget most of them. This is my daughter, Anita.
And we have Nellie here too. And Piper's joining us.
Okay.
But the string of letters has to do with...
Oh, if you keep learning, you can't help but pick up a few degrees along the way. So, I urge people, keep learning. There's nothing special about that. If you keep learning, then you'll know more, and you can help other people more. All right?
That's great. Well, what I was hoping, Anita, is through the eyes of this daughter, is to learn about these two designs. I don't know what you call them on the wall. Because you may have known them ever since you were a child playing around.
Yeah.
Or how do you understand them so far?
Well, mostly from my dad, I've been able to pick up sort of a basic knowledge of circuitry and electronics. And so I know that they are designs for something to do with that. I don't really know exactly what they're for or what they would do or...
So now you interview. I turn it over to you to ask about that. So
Okay.
people who know nothing, who know less than you do.
Okay. So what is that?
Okay. Starting, incidentally, both of these displays are older than you are. This one is related to my first patent, which is on a digital telephone exchange. This particular circuit was designed as a variable delay, because when the exchange sends out a signal, a T1 signal in this case, and it goes out to the equipment and then comes back, there is a transmission delay in that round trip, and so what you get back then has to be matched up and synchronized to what the exchange is. So you have to delay it so that it lines up with how the exchange is working, and so that it can do its job of sending that signal somewhere else.
Do you understand that? Because some people might not know what a T1 is.
Okay. So, I mean, I don't know what a T1 is, but I mean, as far as the signal works, to make a whole message, you have to have the part that's going out and the part that's coming in. And so if they're not syncing up, then the message won't make sense.
If you can imagine your TV without a sync, I'm sure you've all seen it, then you know what we're talking about.
Snow?
You get not snow, but you get split screen.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, I see, okay.
And so that's what synchronization is all about. Okay. That was also in the early days of chip design, when we were pioneering how to make chips of any large size. So that was the first attempt at setting up tools to make the chips. The real purpose was to figure out if the tools for making chips were working, rather than to produce something. After that, we moved on to making chips to do something, which brings us to this one here. This is the original scrambler descrambler chip for satellite TV. It's a mere 20,000 transistors, all handcrafted, and that was a lot for when we did that, which was 1984 vintage. And its purpose was to create a sequence of signals that were mixed with the actual video signal and then sent out over the air, and then received by a companion one of these in your set-top box and reconstituted into the picture.
Do you understand?
It kind of reminds me of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, when they do the transference of the chocolate bar. They take a really huge one and they descramble it, and they make it all scrambled up. They send it over to the other place, and then they unscramble it in a different size. That's basically the same thing that's happening with this and TV. Is one message gets all scrambled up and sent so that it can be sent faster, and then it has to be unscrambled when it gets there so that it makes sense to the viewer.
Is that?
That's essentially correct.
Wow, the Willy Wonka analogy.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, this particular one, we went with the federal standard, data encryption standard, and that was the first of the single chip implementations of that standard. And our beloved NSA was amused at that, and they were concerned about exporting such technology.
What do you mean by amused?
Amused. They were concerned that someone could take a set-top box and take it apart and take this chip out and then have secure communications which the NSA could not break. Which it was true at that time. So in actual production we created a small version of this that wasn't as difficult for the NSA to break.
How do you know what NSA is?
It's the National Security. It's what NSA is, National Security Agency or
That's
something
right.
like that. Yeah.
What does that make you feel to have a dad that the National Security Agency can't control?
Well,
Can you control it?
I mean, it's just a matter of figuring out new ways of doing things, and other people may not have caught up yet, and I feel like that's an instance here with the National Security Agency, is that they just hadn't caught up to this technology yet, and so that's why they were concerned about it. But it's something that's coming, so.
Look at this. The cat just came on me. This is a family of extraordinary animal lovers. So, Colin, what did you do to make the NSA feel better? You did a dumbed-down version? Am I understanding?
Yes.
No, that's okay. Here, you can take
we
the
made
camera.
we made a simpler version, which actually went into production and is in the. It's not in the set-top boxes of today, because of course this is now nearly 25 years old, and so it has been superseded.
Oh, really?
Yes, and also the government concerned with cryptology has also receded. This was like the harbinger of battles to come over in the cryptology field.
Wow.
And I chose not to fight those battles. I let other people fight them. But it ended up with the government allowing various levels of cryptology. I presume that they were upgrading their own capabilities for break such technologies as well.
Wow. Can you get a shot of the cat here? Just so amazing. This is such a loving family, with all your animals. You can see how happy they are. So your dad, Anita, is kind of like the godfather of cryptology, or the godfather of the. I mean, godfather might be the wrong word because you have that mafia connotation, but some type of patriarch of cryptology, or applied at least.
Not necessarily. I don't make my living out of cryptology. It's just a fun puzzle for me.
Right.
I'm more like an enfant terrible.
Get the mother in the back there. Is he an enfant terrible?
Definitely.
Really?
You know, it's just I like to create things, and the fun is in the creating, and it doesn't really matter what it is.
Uh-huh.
And
So you basically had a problem in front of you, how to
Yes.
protect the signal of HBO so people wouldn't cheat
Right.
and take away
Yes.
from the artists and the people who needed to be compensated for their efforts.
that's right, and we just attacked that problem and provided the best solution there was, completely unaware of our government's concerns.
Uh-huh.
You know, so it's, you know, when they came to visit us, it was, oh, really? Okay, we never thought of that. Okay, not a problem. We can fix that.
Can you talk about what you're doing today? Because you were talking about digital signatures, and you were working on both sides.
The government has a current set of standards. They had a after DES, this one, they went to triple DES, and after a few more steps, they arrived at a method called SHA-1, sorry. Then they felt that that wasn't secure enough, and so they developed the SHA-2 family, and now they're concerned, as computing equipment gets faster, so the ability of attackers to break these systems gets better. And so it's a race condition of staying ahead of the attackers, you know, build up your defense ahead of the attackers so they can't break what you're using. And so right now there is an open competition going on to develop the next one. I like competitions, so I thought I would take a look at it.
What are you thinking about this? What are young people thinking about the whole security thing? And
I mean, you hear about, you know, computer hackers, and you always have to worry about internet security and all that stuff, and you know, there's people who try to hack this stuff all the time, and it's sort of, I mean, I think it's sort of cool.
uh-huh.
I think it's weird to think that, you know, my dad is so involved in like national security, but like it's something that's always sort of been hovering in the background, is like secret projects and, you know, cool side stuff outside of regular work, and you know, the competition, and you know, it's a challenge to see, you know, who's the greatest computer mastermind, and it's
Right.
If I knew more about it, I'd probably jump on.
You'd probably jump on it if you knew more about it.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds really cool.
What do you feel your profession's like for the security? The word is security of people.
Right.
How do you help people be secure with computers?
With the internet, people have anonymity. All you see is what they choose to show on the net, and you know nothing about them as a person. So you can, other people can then begin to impersonate people
Yeah,
on the net.
I've had that experience.
And so the problem then becomes, how do you know that this message came from that person? And what we're starting to see is messages coming with the digital signatures at the bottom. I received one recently, I believe came from Bear Stearns. What they do there is they take a message and either add a secret piece onto the end of the message or provide a secret keyword which goes into what's called a hashing algorithm, which produces the signature at the bottom. By having part of it secret, it's hoped that nobody else can duplicate that digital signature.
So that whoever gets the message from Bear Stearns knows it comes indeed from Bear Stearns and not somebody trying to give a bum steer.
Right. In order to validate such a message, you send it back to whoever was claimed to have sent it to you, and they can say yes or no whether it's a valid one or not. Another side of that is that if you get, say, a video coming, is sent by somebody, and they have put a digital signature at the end of it, you can then recalculate the digital signature, and if it doesn't match the one that's on the message, you know the message has been tampered with.
Oh, I see. Wow. So, Anita, when you were growing up, did you feel that your dad gave you any less attention for working on all these brainy things?
I don't think so at all. I mean, I always felt like I got a lot of attention when I was a little kid, and I mean, it's even still now, and it was always, I mean, it wasn't like whatever he was working on was separate from our life. It was always, you know, whenever I would say, like, Daddy, what's this? It'd be like, he'd get all excited and want to tell me all about it, and and I learned a lot of stuff that way, so.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And so you feel, because I have heard you're a really great father, so you feel that that your attention on things like being a father and a husband didn't take away from the creative process, but that it helped you balance?
No. There's two aspects to being creative. There is the actual creation of something, but if the knowledge of how to create that dies with me, then I'm a failure. So I have to teach as well. I have to pass on my knowledge so that somebody else can carry on. Just as I've received knowledge from, say, Sir Isaac Newton, because of what he did in writing down his work, so I can learn from it and continue on.
Are you putting Anita under pressure?
No.
I
She
think,
can be as creative as she likes.
I think there's a certain amount of pressure just from, I mean, I put pressure on myself. I don't need him to put pressure on me, because growing up with it, I mean, I've grown up with a standard of being that makes it that way.
A standard of being?
Yeah.
That's and same for your brother. Do you feel that Charles will carry on? Because I think his degree is in games, which I think is pretty important today, right? People spend a lot of time.
I think the pressure doesn't necessarily have to come, I mean, it's not that we have to do exactly what he's done. It's, you know, life lessons and teachings about how to be in the world have been more important than, you know, specifics about electronics, and I mean, that's what I've gotten mostly. I think my brother's more into electronics than I am, but you know, there's other things. I mean, there's basic principles of design that I employ in what I do, and
Which is, tell people.
I do theater, scenic design, and so it's a whole different style of the creative process, but it has the same principles and the same way of encountering problems and creating solutions. So,
So in conclusion, what would you want to ask your father that you'd want the world to know about? That, anything that you've thought?
it's hard to come up with one question because I sort of come up with questions as I go, and he's always ready with answers, so. I would say, you know, if there was one thing that you would want the world to know, what would that one thing be?
I think help each other. You know, if I help you now, you will help somebody else in turn, and so it will pass on. And so, just that. If somebody tries to run you down, ignore them.
I see on your wall it says, and contrary to the law of matter, where to give more means to have less. In the law of love, the more one gives, the more one has. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Basically, I'm saying, here's my gift to you. What you do with it is your problem, not mine.
Fair enough. Thank you, Anita. And Colin.
Right.
And the power behind the throne there. That's my good friend Janet Bradbury, who I went to India with in 1980 and saw the Taj Mahal. Thanks, Janet.
You're welcome.
So there we go.